Hello, and welcome back to Clay's 50 Film Challenge! Yeah! My name is Clay Johnson, and I am continuing my review of my 50 films. So before I get into the next review, I do want to make an apology. I forgot to mention who suggested the last film, Valhalla Rising. It was suggested by James Williams. I did mention it on Facebook, but I want to go ahead and get it on the video. So thanks again, James, for that suggestion. So now we're going to move on to the fifth film in the challenge, which is The Thin Blue Line, which was suggested by Mark Burnett. So thank you very much for that, sir. This is a documentary film that was made or that was released in 1988. It is basically about the story of Randall Dale Adams, who was convicted of the murder of a police officer in the late 70s, 1976, I believe, and basically maintained his innocence throughout. I found this very interesting. When this film was added to the list, I was actually really excited because I don't watch a lot of special interest documentaries. Like, I will watch documentaries about film, television, sports, things like that. I watch those all the time. But things like this about, actual, like, true crime stories and things like that, I actually don't watch many of those. So I was really interested to give this a try. And so I, started watching the film, and I found it really interesting, the way that basically the story was presented. Like, we saw interviews from Randall Adams himself. We also saw interviews from a man that he actually maintained was probably the actual killer, David Harris. We saw interviews with cops who had interrogated him. We saw interviews from the judge. We saw interviews from Randall Adams' attorneys who also believed that he was innocent. And it was just interesting how certain both sides were of the story that of their perspective side. Errol Morris, who directed this film, actually said that he felt like this was two films kind of merged together. Like, on one hand, it was, and it was offering the evidence of what had happened and all of that, but it was also kind of a documentary about false history, how basically people can believe one thing even if it's true for so long that it basically shapes the rest of their lives, and how interesting that is. And I have to say that I found that very interesting myself. I don't want to talk too much about the case itself. I mean, you can look it up, but I would say if this sounds interesting to you, watch the film yourself, because I really enjoyed the film. I thought it was really interesting. It was interesting to see where certain things you would think would be obvious, and certain things it's like, how could they not get this or that or whatever. And so it's definitely, I'm sure this is the case for a lot of these types of films, but it sucks you in. And this is, has been kind of applauded. I don't know where it was in the era of documentary crime films, but I would say that this documentary has shaped a lot of the ones that people do enjoy now. And so if you like this type of thing, if you enjoy documentary films and you haven't seen this one, I feel like if you enjoy documentary films, this is probably one you've already seen. But if you haven't, definitely check it out. So now I'm going to rate this film. And everybody knows my system. It's either 1, 2, or 3. So, let's see. I am going to give this one a 3. I'm going to give it 3 milkshakes. Yeah, 3 milkshakes. So yeah, that's my review. And as always, feel free to comment down below if you liked this movie, if you didn't like this movie, if you agree, disagree with me, let me know. And I will be looking forward to your feedback. But until then, will return next time with my 6th film, which I believe is The Amateurs. So yeah, I will be looking forward to that, and I will see you guys next time.